Hi, welcome to the Tidbits for the week. I think we're all still recovering a little bit from the big storm that we had last week, where a majority of the Cape went without power for many days. And I was just driving around trying to take in all the damage that I saw. And what I noticed primarily is that most of the damage were from pine trees and scrub pines. So on the Cape, we have just a lot of trees everywhere. But the scrub pines are very common around the Cape. Everybody seems to have them in their yard. When we moved in, we had 31 in our front yard, so we took most of those down. But a scrub pine is a really tall tree, but it looks very gnarly. So it doesn't just grow straight up and down like a pine tree. It has kind of all these branches, and there'll be like a pine cone over here and a bunch of pine needles over here, and it doesn't take any set form. So I think what happens is the snow will land on it, and if it's on a heavy branch, it snaps off. A lot of these trees just kind of snapped right in the middle, bent over. And in our neighborhood case in particular, we had one very large dead tree that was being killed by ivy that had grown up around it and choked it. And it fell over onto a couple of these scrub pines across the street, and that took down all the wires in the neighborhood. So everywhere I drove, I saw so many dead scrub pines, and I hope we didn't lose that many because they really are kind of indigenous to the Cape. I see them everywhere I go, and it just screams the Cape to me. And I always picture them like out by the beaches because the beach waves and wind kind of make it, the branches grow in that particular direction. So, I think that was a big part of a lot of the damage around here. And then I did see a lot of pine trees that just got knocked over. Your typical deciduous pine trees, just the whole root, everything is just fallen over. So they have their root systems grow across kind of the top of the soil, and they grow outward so that when there is a really strong wind, they don't go down to kind of hold themselves in. They kind of grow across the top. So they're very easy to get knocked over. The first trees to get knocked over usually. So anyway, history of the pine tree for the Cape. But also big news is that the interest rates are finally dropping below 6%. So that tends to get people excited and out buying. And we've seen a lot of buyers come back to the market, and still not a lot on the market. So I think people held off listing the property during the storm, of course. And again, now even so, because it's hard to get into a lot of these properties. A lot of the summer residents or part-time residents' homes don't have their driveways or their walkways cleared because they're still working on clearing streets and sidewalks. So we're not seeing a lot of stuff coming on quite yet, but it should happen soon. We had some nice warming days recently. We had rain yesterday, so a lot of that will melt some of the snow cover that we have, hopefully. I'm kind of getting sick of it. I'm ready for spring. Have a great week, everybody. And don't forget, if you have any questions or just want to chat, don't hesitate to reach out. Talk to you next time.